Since it has been weeks now, I wanted to express myself when it comes to Chadwick Boseman. There is a few things that I am enabled to express when it comes to him. One of the first things I want to share was how I reacted to the news of it. At first, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it, especially given that I kept hearing that there was a new movie with him in it out. So clearly, this person is very active when it comes to work. And the last thing in your mind is that this person is going through health issues. If they are this busy, it just really doesn't shine clues that early on. I remember that one of the first things I thought about was, oh my God, Black Panther 2. What's going to happen now? It's particularly because I loved Black Panther back in February 2018 so much that when I heard it was getting a sequel, I was very excited about it. I don't enjoy movies very much. Like, wow, this movie really stuck to me. That kind of feeling, I don't get it very often. But with Black Panther, it was undoubtedly one of those movies that I walked out of the theater and I said, wow, I had a great time from minute 1 to whatever the last minute was. I said I would like to see more of this. I guess you could group me in the category of people to be mad at because some of us reacted instantly with, what about Black Panther 2? And to that, I say, from my personal perspective, maybe this will serve as a voice for other people who may experience the same thing but do not know how to say it. I immediately thought of that because this is something that, again, I am very excited about. I was very excited about. I was looking forward to. I would remember maybe a couple of times per month that this is a project in the works and that this is something that I have to look forward to. Because with Infinity War and Endgame, that was like a massive culmination. That was everything that, if you're a fanatic of this stuff, that was in everybody's mind. And at some point, I got pretty invested in it myself and I thought the same thing. But the reason I personally can have that kind of a reaction is because, unfortunately, I got to meet Chadwick Boseman as an actor before I met him as a man. Like, when you see someone on TV or a movie, the whole point is for you to watch this so that you can immerse yourself into that universe. It's a form of escaping reality and entering into this fictional world. That's really the whole point of movies, entertainment. So you cannot be mad at me for feeling that way about this person when that is why I know him. I wouldn't know who he is if I didn't watch movies. And that doesn't mean that his passing is not tragic. I'm just saying that his professional contributions had a greater impact in me than who he was as a person. And it also doesn't help that I never met this person in person. Pretty much, I am sure that that is true for most of us out there. And unfortunately, when you meet the actor before you meet the man, it's very easy for you to forget that this person has a life and that they go through stuff too. They get sick too. Because when you see them in movies, that's the only time you're dealing with this person. And when you see them in movies, you see them in their best shape. Even if they're playing a sick character, you know in your mind that this person is not legitimately actually suffering. When someone gets shot in a movie, do we react very shocked? No, the only time we flip out is when an animal gets hurt. Like when a dog gets hurt in a movie, I think we have more empathy for a dog getting hurt than humans. Don't we all watch war movies? And do we actually feel some type of way about someone dying unless it's a main character or like very a character that was very likable and you just really wanted to see more of. For most of us, especially for me, I wasn't aware of the so-called time period that he had where on recent images he looked like he had lost a lot of weight, and it was explained that he was getting prepared for some kind of role that required for him to lose that much weight. I never saw that. I pretty much after Endgame, I only knew of his whereabouts from the 21 Bridges movie, and I'm not even sure if that came out before or after Black Panther. I just know that I saw that movie and he looked all right. He looked, I don't want to say he had exactly the Black Panther physique, but he didn't look like he could potentially be ill from weight loss or something. The fact that most of us were unaware of what was happening to him really makes it more shocking. As I said before, he had a major project that we were anticipating, and pretty much all movies have the potential of being major projects, especially if you have a great cast. But in the case of Black Panther, just remember that this was a movie that kind of provoked some kind of cultural revolution in 2018 when it came out. It was really influential, and even the months leading up to it, it was very influential. So to put that in perspective, you have this individual who has become a very high profile figure in Hollywood, and he was part of a very successful franchise, and on top of that had a pending project that branches from a successful franchise. He was at the top of his game, and then he suddenly passes, and we couldn't anticipate that this could happen, and he was only 43 years old. What is the correct way to react in a situation like that? I feel like a lot of people out there try to spend too much time virtue signaling, and I feel like there is truly no wrong way to react to something like this. Unless, of course, you're making really sick jokes, which I personally did not encounter much of that when it comes to exploring the trends on Twitter, which is where I usually get news like this from. So I honestly did not see how people were being disrespectful at all. We know this person professionally, but in a moment like that, we cannot focus on the grieving aspect because, again, we are just commoners. We aren't part of that social circle. So at least for me, it is a challenge to immediately think of the man before I think of the actor. And he is not one of those celebrities that I can say I have taken the time to explore. Who is he? Where does he come from? Where did he go to school? I learned about the fact that Denzel Washington helped him get some courses done out there in Oxford. But if it weren't for his passing, unfortunately, I wouldn't have found out about it because nobody was actually talking about that. And the only way you would know that is if you, let's say, after a movie of his, you get curious and you whip out your phone and you look up his biography. I have seen Star Wars. Have I looked up Daisy's biography? No, I don't know where she is from. I know that she's British, but I'm not sure if she's English, Scottish, Irish, something like that. I don't know her from anything else. I don't know what things she supports, if she has any charity that she donates to, things like that. I don't know anything aside from celebrities' professional contributions. Why do I need to find out about their personal lives? Are they taking the time to find out about our personal lives? I think that when it comes to getting to know someone, it really, really works most effectively when it is a two-way street. But in the case of celebrities, it is us being intrigued enough, curious enough, and I guess caring enough about details like that, that there are some people out there who can give you facts of certain celebrities. I am not that person. If you come talk to me about the personal lives of actors and stuff, anything besides what I know them for professionally, you're not going to have a good time having that conversation with me because I have nothing to say to you. I have not taken the time of finding out those details. It just doesn't help me to know those things. One of the most intriguing things to me about Chadwick that I wish I could know is that he kept working. I want to deduce why, but it's very difficult to do so since, again, I didn't know this person personally and I haven't taken the time to do any research on him. Maybe the answer to this question is out there, but I want to try to deduce why he kept working even though he was critically ill. One of the things that I came up with was maybe this individual looks at him being on borrowed time differently because he's the one who's going through it. So maybe he looks at it as, I know I'm done. I'm going to keep working to leave my legacy out there to be remembered. I guess holding hands with that, it could also be that this man really wanted to make sure that when he is no longer with us, his family is taken care of. Because in the same manner that I cannot immediately think of him as a person because of his profession, when I break that down and think critically about what a cancer diagnosis can do to someone, I would think one of two ways. I would either stop working and try to enjoy my remaining days in peace so that the stress, physical and mental stress of work does not accelerate my demise. I believe that is what happens. I feel like working and getting exposed to stress and the physical impact that work has on you can shorten your lifespan. So I would think, well, if I'm condemned to death, I don't want to spend my last days like this. But at the same time, I think of the individuals who could possibly be dependent on me. It helps for me to feel like I'm pretty much worthless since I'm still young. I don't have a family. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. So I feel like if I were to go, then that's it. It's just someone who just doesn't show up somewhere anymore. A consumer who simply doesn't consume anymore. But in his case, he had a family. So I am sure that he was the primary breadwinner. So therefore, he's like, my folks' lives are about to change upon my departure. So let me really make sure that I have done everything that I can to make sure that they're in a good place. I don't know what their finances is like. I would think that they were well off from the moment he had his first successful movie, but maybe they want to sustain their lifestyle, whatever it may be. I'm not sure. But life from their point of view is so different from ours that we look at $1 million as, oh yeah, I could do so much with $1 million. But it wouldn't be able to help you sustain a certain kind of lifestyle if you were to indulge in crazy things. But in his case, I think that he really wanted to make sure that he also left his family with the best financial legacy possible. And the sole fact that his name alone is something that his family has, I think that they will be well off forever. But we cannot make those assumptions. Also, I think that he kept working because he understood his status and what he symbolized. He was probably from the younger generation, more contemporary times. I want to say he was definitely at the top of his game. Like, he was on his way to becoming the next big legend, if he wasn't already. Like, I know Samuel L. Jackson has a legendary status. Denzel Washington has a legendary status. I think that he was on his way to give himself that mark, to make himself have that status in history if he already didn't possess it, which I honestly think that he did, given his participation in more recent works. For me personally, this is definitely one of the most lamentable passings. And I don't want to say that I think his story is more tragic than any other story of loss of life, not at all. But what I'm saying is, going back to what I stated earlier, I was looking forward to him. I was enjoying his work so much. I also watched The Five Bloods. I liked what I saw, even though his appearance there was brief. I'm just sad that we lost something That's really nice. We lost someone who I had become accustomed to and eager to have more of. Kind of like when you discover really nice music from a band and you realize that they're not going to make music anymore, or you start buying something at the grocery store and you love it so much, it's always been there and you never indulged in it, but the moment you start indulging in it, it gets discontinued or the manufacturer stops crafting it. Well, there you guys have it. I hope that you all found this video useful. I honestly really wanted to just share how I felt because this was something that was pretty big news. It affected my social circle and it even affected me to some extent. There are a lot of celebrities who pass on and that they trend all the time, but I'm like, oh, I didn't know you, neither in person nor when it comes to your filmography or if you're an author, I never read anything from you. It doesn't leave an impact in me, but this individual certainly does. Since I was beginning to explore more of his work, and now I just want to explore it even more. I just wanted to, just like I did with Christina Grimmie, that was another passing that I can say affected me. I thought that I would put this out there, and anytime something like this happens, I intend to express myself because no two celebrity passings are ever the same, and especially the circumstances. This individual was sick, whereas Christina Grimmie was taken by another human being, and that was rather controversial. I really hope that you guys understand where I'm coming from. If you feel disappointed that I reacted, oh, what about Black Panther 2? If you were one of those people who felt frustrated that that was what people were asking about, then just know that I was part of that group, and I hope that you understand what goes through the mind potentially of one of those people. I can only speak for myself. I'm not trying to say that I am the voice for everybody who reacted that way, but maybe if you listen to my perspective, it may actually apply to many more people, and it can help you understand why you may process it faster from a more human point of view as opposed to us. Maybe you knew this person better than us and your awareness of the humanity of this person was mega amplified compared to the rest of us. It doesn't mean that we are terrible people or we have bad intentions. We just have different reactions to things because of the, I guess, priority level in our minds. To me, Black Panther 2 coming out was a top priority when it comes to the entertainment industry. But getting to know Chadwick as a person, because I really don't benefit from learning about actors' personal lives that much, it's not something that I practice. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you soon.